Hi, I'm Dr. Sidney Cohen. I'm a psychologist in private practice in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And I'd like to tell you about a book I wrote, and it's called Your Self-Sabotaging Inner Bully, Standing Up to It Once and For All. You can tell from the title that this book is all about how we all can sabotage ourselves in one context or another in our lives. Could be in school, could be on the job, could be in relationships in our lives, in which we do something or don't do something that causes us to sabotage the situation. For example, in school, not completing assigned work, dropping out of classes. On the job, it could be not completing assignments or being late a lot or not getting along with coworkers. In relationships, which is especially the focus in this book, is doing things or not doing things that hurt your chances to have the relationship really work and last. So, for example, there may be things you'll do along the lines of cheating or lying or totally withdrawing from someone, or sometimes the sabotage boils down to staying in a relationship too long, kind of knowing you really should have been out of the relationship sooner but couldn't bring yourself to, or just avoiding any kind of relationship or intimacy entirely. All of those are examples of self-sabotage. They can occur in single isolated incidents or they can be ongoing patterns. We all do that at one time or another. Goodness knows I include myself in this. It's happened and it can happen and does happen to all of us at one time or another. Now, as you can see in the title also, I make reference to the term inner bully. Inner bully is the term that's used as the idea of the source inside, the negative part of our subconscious. Think of it as a negative force. And the purpose of that force, the whole purpose, is to steer us to sabotage ourselves. So the metaphor of the inner bully is basically the central concept of this book. Now, some of what is discussed and what I talk about is where the inner bully gets its, call it ammunition, if you will. And there are a couple of sources, and they're mainly talked about in the book. One is agitation, a lot of churning inside, cognitively, emotionally, physically. That can certainly give the inner bully plenty of ammunition. Another very important source of the bully's power and ammunition is feeling betrayed. Some major significant letdown has occurred from someone who's really important to you. That certainly is ammunition for the inner bully. And the other is something I call addiction to self-rebellion, where you continue, and we can all do this too, to do something in a situation that is the opposite of what's in our best interest to do. So any of the types of ways we sabotage ourselves is also basically acts of self-rebellion. Now, the toll that all of this takes, the toll that our inner bully loves sabotage to take, is on our self-worth. And a couple of terms we could use self-esteem, self-respect, self-confidence. All of that is what the inner bully loves to keep us having as little as possible overall in our lives. Because the less self-worth and self-esteem we have, of course, the worse we're going to feel about ourselves, the more problems we may create in the situations where we already sabotage ourselves, and round can go the vicious circle. Okay, very important. There is a chapter also covered on real bullies, real or outer bullies, and how the real bullies in our lives or in our past can feed our inner bully. Okay, can feed our inner bully and really create us having more vulnerability to self-sabotage. So the role of inner bullies connected to outer bullies, real bullies, is huge in a chapter in this book. Last but not least, there are two chapters. There are self-help chapters that basically address how to get our self-worth back up, to cut down on self-sabotage, deal with feelings of guilt, of shame, embarrassment, all of which are the outcomes and part of what happens by losing our self-worth. Two self-help chapters cover a lot of material about how to stand up to the inner bully once and for all. And that's pretty much it. I hope you found that useful, and that's it. Thanks for listening.